Hi, this is DC here. Welcome to Fun@Pi videos. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use PN532 reader writer with the Ultralight C tags. I'll be using PN532 connected in HSU mode using the USB to a TTL cable. In this video, I'm going to cover the following things. First, we are going to look at the general overview of Ultralight C tags. And the most important thing is the memory structure and the static locking, the dynamic locking, the basic read and write, the counters, the 3D authentication, and I'm going to cover a few scenarios which a developer would like to know. Basically, this is when they finish the project and how to write protect or read and write protect and do the complete locking. So most of these things are already covered in my previous videos on the Mifare Ultralight or NTAG 213. The only reason why people would buy or use Ultralight C tags are probably because of its counter feature and because it has got a 3DS password authentication. Whereas the basic stuff like the static locking, the dynamic locking, and the general read and write, these are all common to the Ultralight tag. As I always did in my previous videos, it's always good to have a copy of this the tag datasheet, and you can download this from the manufacturer website, and you have to read this at least once or probably keep this as a reference and understand every line of this document. So if you already have the learning software, this Ultralight C features are available in the version 1.4.0 onwards. And if you look at the release notes of this software, you can see that the last time the release was done was almost 6 months ago. And this Ultralight C tag is the latest in this release. Now before I start, there are a few things we have added in this software, and it's about the settings screen. So in the settings screen you will see the software activation key. You can use this as your reference, and followed by we've introduced a concept called local folder. So this folder will be used to store the authentication keys or any other information which is very critical for the learners and software developers. And I've got an example of what exactly is stored in this folder. So I have set my local folder as C drive RFID cards, and you can change this folder by hitting this change button. So this will open up a standard dialog to choose the folder, and in order to enable the software to store the information in this folder, the next option must be ticked. Now this is an example here. I've used a tag, and as you can see, the name of the file is same as the UID of the tag. So because we all know the UID of the tag cannot repeat, a single folder should be enough. And I've got an example here. The content of this file is just the 16-byte keys of the Ultralight C tag, and you might see now more number of files depending on the different UID tags you use. So I've connected my PN532 using the USB TTL cable, and what you can see here inside the box, I have placed a thermocol just to give a little bit of height for my PN532 reader writer. Now I've got a brand new the Ultralight C tag, and I'm going to click on the connect to PN532 board, and if you have this software, you can also see the version of the firmware at the bottom of the screen, which sorry, I cannot show you in this video capturing tool. Now I'm going to choose the Ultralight C, And if you click the activate, so all these commands that are used I've already covered in my previous videos. Now we just make sure you have seen those videos, and to give a summary of what's happening here is the first command is to the waking up and doing the SAM configuration. Without this command you cannot use the read at all, and this is something the maximum retries. You're telling how long you like to wait until it comes out of the loop. So then here this is the command that's to activate the tag. It's called inList passive target. So this screen looks very similar to the Ultralight screen with an additional tab for the passwords and configuration. And more or less this is this password and configuration is also present in my the screens for NTAG 215 or 216 or the Ultralight EV1. Now I'm going to hit the read tag button. So this is going to bring the entire content of the tag into the software. And some of the important section of this is so the best thing you can see this document. Now this is the document, you have to have a copy of that. So some of the important pages are, if you go to page number 7, so I've covered how this type or the Ultralight tags are activated. I covered this in every detail in my previous videos, and this is where it is. And I've also highlighted some of the few important bits here. If you go to page number 10, now this is the memory organization. Now this tag has got more memory than the Ultralight, normal Ultralight. So to go through this quickly, we have the first 2 pages where the serial numbers are stored, and the third page number 3 has got the serial number and the static clock. And all this Mifare tag has got the OTP in the page number 3, and you got from page number 4 to 39 you can store the user data. And because there are more pages here, there's a separate section for dynamic locking, which I've already covered this concept in my videos on 213 or 216 or 217. This has a counter, a 16-bit counter, and it has got the configuration in the next 2 pages, and it has got a section where the password or the key is stored. If you go to page number 13, this explains how the dynamic lock bits work, and some of the important features of this section is every bit locks 4 pages, unlike a static lock where every bit locks a single page. Now probably this is the best way of utilizing the memory. And if you go to page number 15, now I have done 2 videos explaining how this Ultralight C 3DS authentication works, and this is one of the best example you can really understand. So here you can see that you got the UIDs and the static locks here, OTP here, and all the user data. After that you got the dynamic lock in page 40 and the counter, and these 2 bytes these 2 pages are for configuration, and the remaining the last 4 pages is for storing the authentication keys, which you cannot read at all. Now the sections here are, we have gone through this number of times, so you use this to read and write the individual pages, and this is to read and write the bulk pages. You got the OTP here, and I got a counter here, this section. The locks, you got the static locks and the dynamic locks, and the configuration. Unlike the NTAG 213 or 217 or Ultralight EV1, there's not much in the configuration section. So you got one for called auth 0 and auth 1, and this one, we are using this to write bulk text. Now let's go through this one at a time. Sometimes if you come across some initial data in the OTP section, so do not be surprised. Those type of tags, they come with a default NDEF data, and if you see anything in the OTP, you cannot reset that OTP value to 0. So in my tag, the OTP values are always 0 zeros. Now I'm going to write something in the page number 4. Page number 4 is user data. So I can use this page here. Say write a simple thing called ABCD and write. And if you look at the commands, we have seen this write command. Now this is the command, the write command, and if you keep a copy of PN532 documentation as well if you want to understand this command. And I'm just going to go through this once quickly. For every time you send a command to PN532, you'll always get the acknowledged bytes first. This is a 6 byte with the same pattern 000 FF0 FF0, followed by the response packet. In the response packet, the most important thing here is this byte. If this is 0, it indicates a successful write. Otherwise, this indicates an error. So this is how you write to a single page, and this is the command used. I can use this to write for a number of pages. Okay, looks like there's something missing there. So I'm going to write, say, hex 41, 42, 43, 43 and 44. I'm going to write this from page number 5 to page number, say, 15. Right. Now you can see here these pages are written. If you go back to the commands, so there's nothing special happening here, just a series of a single write command, okay, sent for each pages. Now this shows there is no single command in Ultralight C to write multiple pages at a time. So next I'm going to show you how to use the counter. Now if you happen to take away this tag out of the field, you can put it back and click on this activate again. So before that, I'm going to clear these commands, activate. So this reactivates the tag, and you can see there are few changes here. We don't have to send the wake up command and setting the retries command here. You can just send this in list passive target. So the counter is a feature which is available in Ultralight C and not in Ultralight. So there's a nice explanation in section 7.6. So if you go through this document, what it says is, the way the counter is used. Now counter, so as the name mentions, keeps track of the count, and in Ultralight C the counter is stored in page number 41, and it is a 16-bit counter which is stored in the byte B0 and B1. Now it is used in two different ways. The very first write can be done using any value between 0 to the 64,000 limit of 16-bit, and the subsequent write must be any number from 0 to 15. So it is just a 4-bit value. Now because this is a new tag, I have not written anything to the counter, so I'm going to click here. If you go into this page 21 data, I'm going to initialize first time with, say, 25,000. Now this is hex equivalent of 25,000. I'm going to write it. Now after do the first time write, you can see the values here. Now here also I'm showing the current value of the counter. All the subsequent write, you can do that using this feature in the software, or you can also directly write the 4 bytes, but only the last 4 bits of the byte B0 is used. So I've got a nice feature here. I'm going to show how to use this. So I'm going to take this card back, put it again. Sorry, you have to place before you click on activate, read. Now if you go to the counter, so it has the value. So this is the lower byte and upper byte. And we can clear these commands. Now I'm going to increase the counter by 1. Assume that you are doing a ticketing application, and every time the user visits, make a tab, you want to increment this by 1. Now if I set this to, if I click write, now the value changed from A8 to A9, and if you look at the command set, there is no a separate command to write the counter. This is the same write page command. If you look at what the software is doing, it is just writing these 4 bytes of the data. I'm just sending 1 in the first byte, and this 1 is what increments the counter. So likewise, you can want to increase this by a 10, right? Now as soon as click the write, 2 things are happening behind the scene. First, I'm sending the write command. It's just a write page to 41 command, followed by reading the page 41. So for that reason, you're seeing the updated value. So that's what about a counter, just a simple feature. The next important thing is about the 3ds key. So I've been using this Ultralight tag just because it has got a 3ds authentication. If I wanted a tag where I just have to write a few bytes, or just have to write some NDEF data probably, so I would have done that using a Ultralight tag, which doesn't have a 3ds, we know that. Now if you want to understand how this authentication works, I have made many videos in YouTube. I would advise you to see it. And if you also look at the documentation, there's a nice explanation about how this 3ds authentication works, and I'm going to show in a bit. If you go to the page number 15 and section 7.5.5 onwards, there is a nice explanation on how the 3ds authentication works. And if you are doing any development work in Java or a C#, you have to follow this algorithm. And it also mentions how the value of the key is stored. It is not just a straightforward writing here, because you'll be writing in a reverse order, which I'm going to show you soon. And every new tag you buy has a predefined key, the value of the key, and that is also mentioned in this page 19. If you look at here, this is the initial content of the memory of every new tag, and it says that it starts the key, that the key is stored from page number 44 to 47, and this is the default value of the key. Now if you convert that key value to an ASCII, and it's something very interesting a sequence you would come across, it says break it if you can. So it looks like Ultralight C is a very secure tag. Now you have to keep in mind, you can never ever read the values of page 44 to 47, even though you see a link R. So this doesn't work, you can't read. So these 4 bytes are always protected from read operation. Now in this tab, config and password tab, I've got a section here that shows 3ds key, and the software automatically populates with the default key, what's mentioned in the document. And what we have got is a new tag and none of the page. Now the next question is, why do we need this key? So in Ultralight C we can protect this entire tag or part of this tag with the password, and you can access those protected region only after a successful authentication of the password. So you have to send the password to the tag, and the tag checks the password is right or wrong, then it allows you to access or deny the protected region. So at present we don't have any region that is protected. You can still authenticate with the tag, so there's nothing wrong in doing that. It's still a valid operation. I'm going to clear here. Now when I hit this button authenticate, now you got a nice message auth OK. This is what the software is produced, and automatically the software shows the value of the keys. So there's no magic happening there, because you have entered the key values here, and because the card has accepted this as a valid key, the software is just showing those values in the grid. Now the most interesting thing is what's going on behind the scene. Now I have put some additional information here, and we know that this sign refers to the command we send to the tag, and this sign refers to the response we receive from the tag. But all these the information with that prefixed with the 3 stars are just for information sake, and this is what you have to understand to know how the 3 days authentication works.